Welcome back to Oathbound Gaming or Nekrage's channel, depending on where you are watching this. I'm going to be your host today. I'm either going to be Nekrage or Greg, depending on what channel you're on. I don't know. Pick one. I don't care. Or both. So, we are going to discuss the Season of Mastery changes that are coming. If you haven't heard, Blizzard just recently announced, just yesterday, that the Season of Mastery is being worked on, being developed, and the beta is launching on the 5th. My guild will be playing that. We will be going very, very hard, very hardcore, trying to be the best we can be, as we always do. Now, before I start talking, I'm going to talk about every single one of these things you see down there below, how I feel about it, suggestions, feedback, all that type of stuff. Hopefully we can have a good discussion. Now, I want to start off by saying this. Whether you agree, disagree, whatever, I want to know in the comments, but let's have a reasonable discussion, okay? I don't want anyone fighting, and, you know, we know how this stuff gets, right? We've all been on forums. We know how people get heated. Let's have a good discussion here. I want to hear your thoughts, and if you do disagree, why? Like, let me know what you think. Why you think it'll play out a different way. So, to start, I want to say this. Straight to Blizzard, if you're watching this, please give people a bigger heads up. They announced it on the 30th, September 30th, and they're like, hey guys, the 5th, we have beta coming. That's not a big enough heads up for people. People need like at least 2 weeks, and even then, that's cutting it close. That's cutting it close, even 2 weeks. So please, respect the player base a little bit and give us a little bit more of a heads up. I really appreciate that. And also, what time is it launching? What's the duration of the beta? Like, all of these kind of shows players you care about them. You respect their time, right? So please, in the future, let's fix that. Let's not do that. Okay, let's get started though. Let's get to the meat and potatoes here of this video. Let's talk about how I feel about this stuff. I'm going to start from left to right, what I care about the most. World buff removal. So when you enter raids, world buffs will not be active. That's your rallying cry of the Dragon Slayer, your War Chief's Blessing, stuff like that. How do I feel about it? That is by far the best thing I can ever... It's amazing. It's perfect. It is one of the biggest blows to the quality of this game. Was world buff concentration. Get your world buffs, don't log into your character for a week because you got your Dark Moon Fair buff, and you can't play them because you're going to run down the buff. You're going to run down the duration of the buff, so make sure you stay logged out because Dark Moon Fair is leaving, and we don't raid for another 4 days. So hold that buff, and we're going to go, you know, hop into raids. And I know other people can argue and say, well, just don't do it. If you don't like it, don't do it. Yeah, I agree. And my guild, we were planning whether or not Blizzard removed world buffs, we weren't going to do it. But it's nice when everyone's kind of on the same playing field. And I think we could all agree that Classic WoW was a lot easier than we remembered it, right? It had a lot of the nerfs in it, a lot of the character buffs, the class buffs were in the game, while the raid nerfs were also in the game. So, like, you know, that really did a blow to the difficulty of the game, along with the player base just being better, right? We're more skilled players than we were way back in the day, right? I hope so. Hope we all are. Hope we all became better players. And world buffs were kind of like a crutch that when players also utilized that, when it just blew away raids, right? It made it child's play. And players will always play to be the best they can be, usually. So if something's in the game like that, they usually will play to use that to their advantage, right? They're going to use anything to make the game easier because your competition's going to do the same. So removing this, amazing. We can concentrate more on actually playing the damn game. Love it. That's good. So, boss mechanic restoration. Now, I've been kind of torn on this between actually S, A, or B. And the reason for this is the mechanics vary wildly. I remember back in the day, some mechanics made some boss fights just almost absurd. And you could always say, well, more difficulties, good. Yeah, but I'm picturing like Hakar, for instance, that drops threat. That like changes the whole raid comp. And it makes the fight a little wonky. So in some mechanics were great, while others were a little weird, and it made it seem like, okay, this doesn't really work so well for this boss fight. But talking about Hakar again, he had a slow that he would utilize that was removed. That was awesome. It made the fight a lot more difficult. It made it a lot more fun. So I'm putting this on A tier. I'm putting this in between S and B. I'm going to say it's damn good. But there are a couple of mechanics that I think once we get back in the game, we're going to be like, damn, this kind of makes this fight weird. And it just, not necessarily difficult, but a little, it can wonkify the fight. All right, let's call it that. It throws a little bit of strange mechanics in the fight. But one of the nice things about that is we might not remember that too well, right? We don't remember the boss mechanics that were removed because 90% of our time fighting that boss was with the mechanic that was removed, right? It was, that mechanic's gone, and 90% of our memory on that fight was with it removed. So it's kind of a new little flavor added back to the game. When we go back there, it's just something else to learn, something else to challenge, and I like it. I'm looking forward to some of the stuff that I forgot. Like, I'm going to get back into some fights and be like, I forgot about that. I forgot that Oni confuses people and stuff like that, and we might not see that, though. I don't know. We may. We'll see what happens. But that's kind of the mystery of it. It's adding a little mystery back to Classic for me, and I really like that. The no debuff limit. Ooh. I like it, but it's going to be. And the reason why it's going to be is it's because it is such a massive, massive change to the meta, quote-unquote, of the game, right? It's going to be a massive change to what your raid composition will be. You guys are going to crucify me when I say this, but this is greatly altering the balance of the game to the point it's essentially tweaking each class. It's essentially going into the class itself and saying, hey, let's tweak warlocks and make them a lot stronger. Let's tweak warriors and nerf them a bit. Let's, that's essentially what it's doing. Because it's allowing a lot of other classes to utilize what they already had. It was already there, but you just couldn't use it in Rage. You couldn't use your corruption in Rage. You couldn't use Shadow Word Pain, and then if you're an undead priest, you can use Devouring Plague and Mind Flay, and you could actually be a Shadow Priest, which is cool. More specs work, and you could bring more specs, and you could be less anal about what weapons are using proc effects, and oh, you can't use that weapon because it's going to put a dot on the boss. You're not allowed to use that weapon. That's nice that you don't have to worry about that, right? It's nice. I think there was I forget the name of the dagger because it was so no one really cared about it, but it was from MC. And it had an intellect debuff or something on bosses. You didn't use it because it took up a debuff slot. So that is beautiful. We don't have to deal with that anymore. But it is a massive change. A massive change. I cannot stress this enough, how big of a change this is going to be to the raid comp and the overall strength of classes. I think Warlocks are going to be killing it. And I wouldn't doubt it if we see 20 Warlocks in my guild. Like, oh, I want to be Warlock now, and half the raid is Warlocks. I hope that's not the case. We're going to take great steps to stop that from happening, but be ready for that. And this is a massive balance change to all of the classes, whether you believe it or not. Even if it doesn't directly impact your class, it will impact other classes that you are raiding with, which means they're stronger than you. So keep that in mind. And also, this will play into threat mechanics. Threat will be a lot harder when people are doing a lot more DPS with that. I mean, obviously world buffs are gone, but world buffs are gone for your tank too. So you just have Warlocks doing a ton of extra damage. Throwing instant shadow bolts like crazy. Having their corruption, their curse of agony. Be careful. Threat's going to be a lot more of an issue, but I actually like that. It's waiting on those Sunders might actually become a thing again. I doubt it, but Increase boss HP. Yes! That is S tier. That is a beautiful change. I love that. We can't just avoid boss mechanics and blow everything down because we're stacked with world buffs and the boss's health is a drop in the bucket and we can just blow them up, right? Love it. That means the boss fights are going to be exponentially harder because think ahead a little bit. Put your thinking cap on here because increased HP also means increased duration of low health phases, right? Well, not just low health phases, but all phases, right? Phases are going to last longer. But I'm thinking like Patchwork, Chromagus, where they get low health and they're like, all right, they're going to go ham. They're throwing in the kitchen sink. They're going to go in rage. And you're in that phase for a lot longer now because they increase health. So you have to deal with that for a longer time, which will make the fight harder, right? That's good. I like more difficult raids. Faster leveling. That is going straight to F tier. This is the first horrible thing on this list. And I know you guys are probably like, oh man, I want to level as quick as possible. I want to get straight to the end game. Okay. Let's take a step back here and let's talk. Let's talk directly, okay? I'm looking at you, right through the webcam. Leveling to 60 is not a bad thing. The leveling process is not a negative experience, and it doesn't have to be. The game is not all about the end game. I know everyone's always like, oh, the game starts at 60. Bullcrap. No, it doesn't. Leveling is part of the game, it's part of the experience, and it has impacts on the end game. What do I mean by that? If everyone can instant 60, 60, 60, 60, I want this 60, that class to 60, I'm going to get this one to 60, that has unintended side effects of there's more raid clears now, more split raids, people will be able to get more gear by doing that, by utilizing more 60s in their guild to do more raids and split up mains and alts. My guild's going to be doing it to a certain extent, but not to the extent that this is going to cause. In addition to that, faster leveling means more trade skill cooldowns. That means more Arcanite bars. That means whatever, more everything. More utilized cooldowns that you otherwise would not be able to obtain as quickly, right? It's going to have unintended side effects, and it's going to change the game, and it's going to have people switching the classes for, oh, we're going to go for a world boss, I'm going to switch to this 60 that I have camped out at the world boss at all times. Like, and that's going to be doable because it's going to be a joke to level. It's going to be almost double the speed. That's massive. That's very, very easy. I could talk about faster leveling all day. I think it's horrible. I think it's a very, very bad impact on the game. But that kind of goes hand in hand with this 12-month cadence, which is also F tier. So I jumped ahead to that because this kind of goes hand in hand with faster leveling. I wanted to talk about that as well. The faster leveling with 12-month cadence, I understand how those go together, but we shouldn't have either of them. I think they're both horrible choices, and it treats the game like this rush thing when it shouldn't be like that. That is what killed, or I shouldn't say killed, severely impacted the quality of the game the first time around. Everything was about speed runs and doing everything quickly and blowing through all the content and doing this, doing that, and jumping to the next content. When's the next phase? It doesn't have to be like that, and it shouldn't. The content should be so difficult that not every guild gets it down. Not every guild gets it down the first week they start raiding. They might start raiding week 2. Great. And they get MC and Oni down right away. Like, that's what happened with my guild, and that kind of sucks. Like, you want that struggle. You want to earn that kill. You want to get through that. And not every guild should. Not every guild should clear everything. But give them some damn time to do that, to work on that content. And I think a 12-month cadence is just a step in the wrong direction because it's doing that rush thing where everything's got to be super quick. We got to get to 60 immediately. We got to get through MC immediately. We need BWL right away. Let's go. The game is now more difficult, right? It's more difficult with world buff removal, increased boss HP, boss mechanic restoration. The debuff limit kind of, blows, hits on that difficulty a little bit. But overall, I'm hoping that this is an overall difficulty increase, substantial difficulty increase, even with the debuff limit removal. Now, if that's the case, we need time. Players need time to work on those raids, to wipe in those raids, make progress. Hey guys, we got 6 bosses in MC down. We didn't clear it, but nice job. We'll meet up next week. Let's try this again. Maybe they get a little bit more bosses down, and they get stuck on rag. And then the next week, maybe they get rag to 20%. The week after, they get them down. That's what I want to see again. And you need to give guilds time for that, because if that guild's struggling on that and BWL's coming out next week, that's a major blow to morale to the point that players will probably quit. We see guilds fall apart all the time where they just call it quits because they don't want to deal with that. They don't want to deal with the wiping. And we need to change our mindset where that is okay. It's okay to get stuck. It's okay to struggle and work on something to finally get it down. You know that feeling? You ever been in the Discord or TeamSpeak or Ventrilo where you get a boss down for the first time and people start going nuts cheering? That is the greatest feeling in the world, and I think a lot of us chase that high. That's hard to get. So I want this content to be difficult, but 12-month rush, 12-month cadence, it's horrible. It's a horrible impact on the game, and it changes everything about WoW and everything about MMOs. We're supposed to live in this. We're supposed to live in these MMOs in a way. And I know that might sound sad to some people, but that is what it's about for me. I want to make this my real MMO. I want to play this for years to come. And that doesn't mean, we should take 2 years to go through the content. I think the normal rate that we had should be what we have again, but with more difficult content. I'd love to see how that plays out, and I don't know why Blizzard is jumping the gun on that and saying, hey, let's just reduce it. Give us harder content, and give us the original time, and make us work through that. You can see, like for like, hey, they have the same amount of time, let's see how they do now. It'll play out with the same duration, but I think a lot of people will clear less content, they'll have less clears, and they might find themselves struggling up until just about the next content release. But give players time and let them treat this as their full game. Stop making it a rush where we gotta rush through this thing and then jump onto the next game. And you know what? With the 12-month cadence, we don't have time for other games. You know what I was gonna do? We knew Fresh was coming. I've known for the past year that Fresh was coming. I've been talking about it for a long time. You guys been listening to me. I knew about the world buff removal. I knew about a lot of this stuff. The 12-month thing, this took me by surprise. I didn't know about this at all. This is news. This is news to me. I knew about the half of this stuff. The faster leveling and the 12-month thing, horrible. In fact, I didn't know about it, and I got an update a couple months back. So this was decided very recently. I'm telling you that right now. This was very recent at Blizzard. I think it's horrible. So we were gonna do our rating, and then you know how people start raid logging in WoW? That's not happening with 12-month. And I actually say that that's a bad thing. I know raid logging is kind of looked down upon, but I say that's okay. So while some people might raid log, other people are over there leveling alts, they're PvPing, they're doing their thing in the MMO they love. Because there's time to do that. So, Diablo 2, I was going to play you on the side. I was going to wait for the ladder to launch, do some WoW, do some Diablo 2 with the guild. There's no time for that. There's no time for that. You need to put every waking minute, every minute of your gaming into this game with a 12-month. It's horrible. I think it's a bad decision. I think Blizzard really needs to take a step back and rethink this F category. But let's hit the F category again. Should we? Let's throw one more in there. PvP Honor System, Phase 1. That's another F. And the reason why is because that kind of falls under the 12-month issue where everything is a freaking rush. You gotta slowly feed content in. And when we first got WoW, people were begging for the BGs that they came a little quicker. And you know what, Blizzard? You did a good job there. You did a good job because it actually created a little bit of like a content funnel. We got that honor system. World PvP was on fire on a lot of servers. People were killing each other, camping outside DM. I spent a lot of time out there. If there's any alliance from Kirtanos, I love you and I'm sorry. I'm sorry about Dire Maul. But we had a great time, right? And then BGs came out and we had something else to do. And that was like a few weeks after BGs came out, maybe 2, 3 to 4 weeks after the honor system. And that was great. That was nice. But what did it do? The honor system being after launch gave players time to level and get their gear and get their attunement and then PvP. Having this all at the same time is wasteful. I think you're throwing everything in so fast. It's like fireworks. Let's talk about fireworks. I've had $1,000 worth of fireworks before for 4th of July. US, by the way. So some of you guys might not know that. You know that. But in the US, we have 4th of July. We like to light fireworks, right? You know how fast $1,000 worth of firework goes? Like 2 minutes later, I was like, well, that was $1,000. That fast. But if you kind of space your stuff out, it's more enjoyable for a longer run. So increase this 12 months to, I don't know, 18 months, or like a normal time frame, and push the honor system back a little bit. It gives people time. There's so much to do when the game first launches. You're leveling. Maybe you even have plans to say, hey, once I get 60, I'm going to make sure I level my alt to at least 35 and get another profession on there. Or maybe I'm going to push that second one to 60. I want to get attuned on both of them. I got pre-bis gear to farm. I got a lot of dungeons to do. I got to get ready. I got to level my professions. I got to get my attunement down. My guild wants us rating by week 2. I got to get ready. It's impossible to justify the honor system in phase 1. It has no business being there. And I know a lot of people are going to be like, well, what about while leveling we can kill each other? You're going to do that anyway, because guess what? They're taking your mobs. They're in the way of your quest. There's already a reason. There's already something to entice you to kill each other. We want them out of the way, right? We want those mobs. We want to level. Not them. It's ours. There's already a reason for it. Week 2, week 3, week 4. That's your honor system window right there. The game's still brand new. It's fresh. There's no reason to throw this. Even week 2 is fast. Even that's fast. For a player like me who's hardcore as hell, I'm not going to sleep for days. I'm probably going to die in my chair. I don't care. That's what I do. That's what I do. I love this type of stuff, right? I'm very passionate, as you can tell, about my games and about MMOs. This is what I love. But I'm saying this, and this is tough love, that F category, that is horrible. That is treating this game like a season. Season of Mastery. That's bad. That is a bad approach. That's a recipe for failure, and I think we could treat this as a full-fledged MMO, which is what we want. We want to be able to play this. We don't want to jump from do it again and do it again and do it again. It's okay to make this a home, because I already know, I've known this for a while, this is progressing to Burning Crusade. This will go to TBC. Now, there will almost certainly be the TBC Season of Mastery version, and that's fine. And I'm all up for that, and I'm happy to go join that as well. But treat it like its own freaking version. Treat it like an MMO, just like its own content release, its own expansion release, its own classic launch. It doesn't have to be treated like a season, where we're constantly resetting it like a ladder, like a Path of Exile and a Diablo 2 ladder. It's just doesn't make sense. Summoning Stones, I'm going to move on because I can talk about this all day. Summoning Stones, I'm going to put that as a C. I could take it or leave it. I really don't care. It's not a big deal. My just one concern is, I talked about Dire Maul a little bit. Okay, guys, there's a lot of Alliance coming. We've been fighting them back and forth. Let's get to some guys at the Summoning Stone, and let's summon about 10 people. Okay, let's head back out in front of Dire Maul and just slap some people up. That's going to affect World PvP. It will have an impact on World PvP. Some of you guys might not care about that, and that's okay. And I get it. It's a minor impact. That's kind of why it's on C. Like, I could take it or leave it. It doesn't really matter much to me, but it will definitely have unintended side effects like World PvP impact. But whatever. You know, take it or leave it. It's not a big deal. And then increased mining and herbalism. So this is a weird one to me. This one's weird. I almost want like a question mark. I should have added like a question mark. So here's why increased mining and herbalism is weird. It's increased so we can have less of an impact on consumables, right? We want to have our consumes quicker and stuff, so we can go to raids and actually participate in the raids, which is great. I think that's awesome, because the difficulty should be in the raid itself, on the raid boss fights, rather than the difficulty of preparation. The difficulty of getting our world buffs and getting, oh, I need my flask, I need to farm gold for my flask and get all this. That sucks. I like the difficulty and the struggle to be within the raid itself together with your guild, wiping on that boss saying, hey guys, let's try this, let's change this up a little bit, hey, make sure you taunt this quicker, let's make sure we wait a little bit on thread, or hey, let's put an extra healer on this tank. That is the struggle I want. I want less of a struggle of, hey, I gotta farm for 5 days because I need consumes for the upcoming raid. So this is actually good in a way, but the lack of fishing boost, that kind of goes hand in hand with herbalism. For you guys that know your recipes, you know your flasks, you know your consumables, the lack of a fishing boost kind of, and this is weird because this is like the only like actual con, because I have it listed as lack. It's a lack of a fishing boost. I think they kind of really messed this up. So I could put this as an F, like they failed with this, right? But I'm going to say it's a D. It's a D because I'm going to give him a D on this one because it's... Give him the D. Give him the D on it. Because I think it's an oversight, or... I don't know how to word this. Whatever. Like it's a lack of understanding of whoever's deciding this, that fishing is needed. They don't understand that this is going to play into this. So when you have a ton of 90% of your herbs you need, but you need to try to, like, I don't know, maybe you go herbing for a day and you get everything you need for weeks of raiding, right? Herbs-wise. But now you need to fish for a week to match the amount of herbs you got to finish the rest of those recipes, right? It doesn't make sense. So I really do think that this needs to be addressed. And increased mining and herbalism, I like it and hate it. I feel I'm a little torn with it. Torn warrior. So yeah, I'm a little torn on this one because it kind of goes with the rush thing, which everything is rush. But on the other hand, it puts more of a focus on actually being in the raids, actually being in the content, rather than being outside the world preparing for that content, right? So I'm going to put it on B. I'm going to leave it on B because I really do think it's a nice change. But we don't know what exactly that means. Does that mean there's more herbs and mining stuff in the world? Or when we go to herb, instead of getting 2 herbs, we're getting 10? Like, what is the rate? How does it work? How much of an increase is this? And why did we forget fishing? I hate fishing. You won't catch me fishing. I hate it. I don't like it. But I didn't forget about it. I know it's important. You fishers out there, I see you. I see you and I appreciate you. Our guild has a lot of them and I love you guys. Mage boosting nerf. Whoop! That goes straight to S. I'm getting a save and download. I'm gonna save this. I'll upload this. Mage boosting nerf, that's going straight to S. And the reason that it's S tier is why? Because that counteracts the faster leveling, which is something that pulls on each other a little bit. So Blizzard's nerfing mages, which is a great thing, and then they're doing faster leveling, which is the complete freaking opposite of the mage boost. You're telling people, hey, we don't want people doing the mage boost in instances because they're not really leveling. And then you do faster leveling, which is not really leveling. You're just destroying the leveling experience. You're changing it entirely. You're removing those instances that people would run while leveling. What does SM matter? Why does SM matter? Why does RFK and RFD matter? And all these leveling dungeons that a lot of people like to do because it was great gear that helped them level, right? Getting a corpse maker as a warrior, or maybe a shaman, or heck, maybe even I don't know. Well, SM is relatively bad for experience from quests. It's a great grinding instance. It's really bad quest experience from SM. So if quests are now the increased leveling rate, they boosted quest experience, it's going to make those instances a lot less impactful and a lot less utilized. A lot of people are just going to be like, hey, let's just skip it. And oh, look, we turned in 5 quests and damn, last time I looked, we were at the SM level to run it, but I looked back and now I'm level 44. Let's just finish this zone first and then we'll go do ZF. Let's finish Tanaris, then we'll head up into Zul'Farrak. Oh, we're level 52. Huh, look at that. Alright, forget Zul'Farrak. Let's go to Hinterlands. Oh, we're 55. You want to do BRD? Hold up, let me finish, I don't know. Could be, Ajara a little bit? I guess you can yeah, I guess you can do that. Depends on the questing order that you do. Or Felwood. Okay, let's use Felwood. Everyone loves Felwood, right? Kinda. You level in Felwood a little bit. Let's do a little bit of leveling in Felwood, and all of a sudden you're level 59. Like I don't know, man. It's gonna change the nature of the game, change what we like about it, change the instancing, change the leveling route and progression, and it's just, I feel like it's wrong. I feel like this is a big hit on the game, along with obviously the rest of the F tier. I think if we fix this, the F tier, the game would be probably the best MMO of all time. Damn close to it. Damn close to the best MMO of all time, because this really does fix a lot of the issues. So Blizzard, overall, if I had an overall grade up on here, I'd probably give you like a C+ or B for this. Your head's in the right place, Blizzard. Your head's in the right place, and I gotta give you credit. I gotta give you credit for doing this in the first place. This is good. But there's some room for adjustment. And I do appreciate you saying in your post that you really are looking for feedback. I hope you watch this video. I know this was a long one. It's close to a half hour. I know this was a bit ranty. But I like doing these videos, and hopefully we can have a good discussion. Blizzard, please respond. I'm going to throw this in a forum post. Hopefully you respond. I'd love to talk to you guys about it. You know me. I know you know me. I know some of you guys at Blizzard know me. and the rest of the community, if you want to talk, please respond to either the thread or the comment in the video. I'd love to talk, but let's keep it peaceful, all right? Let's have a wise discussion about this. Let's be gentlemen. Let's talk about how you feel about this faster leveling and such. I want to hear you out. But guys, thank you very much for watching. If you're looking for a guild to join, we will 100% be playing this game, regardless of what Blizzard does, but I really do think that F tier needs to be adjusted. Alright, so anyway, guild details will be down below. The Oran'Thul is going to be playing the beta, and then some, but we will be providing our feedback. You have not heard The Last of Us. As much as you want to hear The Last of Us, you won't hear The Last of Us from this video. Alright, so, oh my god, I'm breaking the thing. F minus. No, okay, F tier. So overall, guys, not too bad, Blizzard. Just make sure you give us a little bit more of a heads up next time when you're doing a beta or something like that. Would appreciate that. I think the whole community would. So thank you very much for watching. Throw us a sub, throw us a like if you like the content, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Get out!